Good morning, folks. Oh, we already got some people here. Good morning, Renee. Good morning, Filthy Potato. What's going on? Man, you guys have been having a conversation already. Shoot, I was late. Alright, one sec. I gotta run back upstairs for a second. I forgot something. 1 second. Alright, let me test the coffee cam real quick. Oh, that's not working. What the heck? Oh man, we've gone to a black void. Just a pitch black void. Hey, Filthy Potato, thanks for being a member. Thanks for being a member, Filthy Potato. Thank you very much. There we go. All right, get back in your chat. Come in here. All right. Okay, so we got a new member, so you guys know what that means. We got to manually update the list of members, because that's a thing. Yeah. Appreciate it, though, man. That's super kind of you. Super, super kind of you. Artwork Studios. Good to see you, man. How you been? How you been? Steven, I beat to the coffee. You did. You did indeed beat me there. Excuse me. That was a big burp. I didn't mean to burp in your ear. Okay, so we got to do Notepad, this guy, and then we got to go to the API Explorer. This is, I say this every time. I sound like an old man. Every time this happens, I'm like, God damn YouTube and their restrictive API access, making me have to do this every time. At some point, this is going to become my only motivation for posting and streaming, is just so that I can get access to automate this task. I saw somebody say in chat they're packing and they're getting ready for finals or taking finals or something. That's such a vibe, man. You know? If you've ever been in school, packing for a trip, preparing for finals, that's like a whole vibe. Alright, then we do .NET index, or yeah, .NET index.cs. That should run. And now your name should show up in that list. So thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. It's never expected, but always appreciated. That's for sure. Alright, now let me lock in on chat for a second and try to catch up on the conversation, since I've kind of been all over the place. Okay, and then we need to pin a message. Good morning. We are going to try to solve another Advent code problem. Come chat and copy with us while we do it. If you are new here, try commands for more context. Uh-oh, I ran out of characters. There we go. Pin this. You haven't eaten in 2 days? Dude, you need to get some food in your body. What the hell? Oh, food poisoning. Oh man, that's terrible. Yeah, that is awful. Filthy potato. Finals. Plus finals this week, plus early streams like this. Oh, I'm set. Yeah, we're always early streaming. Always early streaming. Yep, moving to Washington. I remember you telling me about that. Here I was to ask about the API, but you mentioned restrictions. Yeah, so if you're new here and you haven't been following the saga, YouTube has an API that we've used to automate quite a few things related to the channel, but they have this members list endpoint where you can essentially programmatically see who's all a sponsor or a member of your channel. However, you can see right here, they have this very specific blurb that you can only get access to this endpoint if you have a, what do they call it? A Google or YouTube representative. And apparently I'm not a big enough channel to have one of those. So no access, no programmatic access for me. That's okay though. One day my channel will be big enough to where I can call the endpoint without any restrictions. Renee, Moldovan balm, man. But it's not Moldovan balm, Renee. Remember, it's lemon balm. Remember? Arvin figured it out. He had it wrong. Oh, Filthy Potato, I missed your message where you said, "You got it, dude." I love that show. I absolutely adored that show growing up. Filthy Potato. I don't like the segregation. I think they need to give you access. Yeah, I've submitted 2 support tickets. I logged an issue in their bug tracker as well as submitted a support ticket. And now anytime they send me like they'll send like YouTube partner, if you're in the partner program, they'll like send you marketing emails that are like fill out the survey, you know, stuff like that. So now every time I get one of those emails, I reply to it. Not that anybody reads it, but I reply. It's a very passive aggressive thing I've started doing. I reply to it and I say, I'll fill out your survey when you give me access to the members endpoint. Yeah, Full House, man. What a great show. Just what a wonderful show. Renee, support ticket. Yep, support ticket and an issue tracker. And they both of them responded with, we cannot help you. Great, wonderful. I mean, can we talk about that? Can we talk about that for a second? Google is one of the largest companies on planet Earth. And they basically said, customer support? Who needs that? Like, how crazy is that? That's wild. Per my last email, give me access. Filthy Potato, you're funny, man. You are funny. Oh, Renee, I missed this message from you where you said, I also want to get up at 4 a.m., read a bunch of YouTube subs, vitamin B injection straight in the main vein, and eye drops for me to wake up, to be awake at 4 a.m. All right. Customer support is so 90s. That's how Google acts about it. I think customer support is a differentiator from a business perspective, but they were just like that. They're like they treat their customers almost in a way that they want them to leave them alone, right? That's how they do it. That's like Epic. Who needs anyone on the other end? Exactly like Epic. PlayStation's the same way. Xbox support's about the only one that I've ever had a positive interaction with. It's all, I don't know why they're like that, man. I don't. It's because I mean I guess I do get it. I guess I do know why they're like that. It's because their scale is so large that it kind of necessitates that if they were to respond to every support ticket or every issue, it would be such a drain on their business. It probably would be an existential threat to their business. If I had to guess, like they'd probably run the numbers. But still, I'm gonna bitch about it. Right up the dark beyond. That's right. That's exactly what they said in their email when they responded to me. They said, we cannot help you anymore. Please take this issue and shove it right up the dark beyond. You know you've fallen far behind when Microsoft support beats you. Yeah, yep. That's the thing. Man, this has been a good start to the stream. This has already been a fun stream. If we ended the stream now, I would have a good day. Okay, so we're gonna solve day 5, part 1. So again, we're always about, we're gonna end up being about 6 days behind where everyone else is, because that's staying on the 12-day pace that Advent of Code set, because I've only been doing a part a day. But that's made it, actually, for me personally, it's made it way more sustainable to keep up. Compared to the last 2 years, it was kind of a reach to do 2 parts in one day. For me, at least, I'm not the Giga Chad programmer that a lot of other people are. Not the infinite abyss. No, not there. I promise I'll be good. Makes for more content. Yeah, I mean, this is true. This is true. That is actually, I'll have to say, if you are somebody who's interested in doing content or doing, or you have an inkling that you might be interested in it, I will say that streaming is such an easier way to make content regularly because you kind of have like a bucket of it. I mean, if you spend 2 or 3 hours in front of a camera, you inevitably end up with something you can use. Um, I respect those creators that only do horizontal long form videos and they're good. I really respect them because that takes a lot of effort and a lot of time and a lot of energy. I won't be able to chat much right now because I'm more working on this game on ultra grind mode. Go for it, dude. Yeah, we support lurking. We not only do we support lurking, we 100% fuck with it because that's basically what I do in the streams that I hang out in. I lurk, so you never have to feel any pressure to chat. You can just hang out. And maybe lurking's not even is not like a good word for it because lurking almost connotes like a negative connotation. It's just enjoying being in other people's presence, right? Just like hanging out alongside other people. It's like going to a coffee shop to work, right? It's like the reason you do that a lot of times is you just want a change of scenery. You want to hear other people doing other things. You want some ambiance, some background noise. So, yeah, never feel any pressure to do that artwork, studios. You're good, man. Grind away. Grind away. Good morning, Wilo Gamer Pro. How are you? It's been a minute. I don't think I saw you much yesterday. If you were here, I must have missed it. But good morning. How are you doing? I'm trying to get up and running for the day. My friends don't code, so it's hard to stay motivated. Came across your stream at the perfect time. It's been helping my problem solving skills. Well, that's wonderful, dude. I'm glad I could at least help with something, you know? But I totally feel you there. I mean, none of my family is really into programming or coding. They're not really into tech in general. I mean, that's been the story of a lot of my hobbies, passions, interests. Like I love to lift weights. None of my family is really into that stuff. Not even my brother really is into lifting weights. None of my family or friends are terribly into programming or coding. So it's been a lot of fun to stream and meet people and talk with people who kind of have similar interests. That's been one of the best parts about it. So I'm right there with you, man. People don't realize how important community is when you're like learning something or you're trying to get better at something. Community is super important. There's actually a theory in psychology around motivation. It's called self-determination theory. It was largely determination theory. It was largely created. This theory was largely developed and created by two researchers at the University, I think, of Rhode Island, named Edward Deci and Richard Ryan. And I believe they're at the University of, let me see. But one of the things they posit in this theory is basically in order to feel motivated as a human being, you have basically three basic psychological needs. Just like in order to stay physically healthy, you need water, food, right? You need those basic physical needs. And they boiled it down to autonomy, competence, and relatedness. And relatedness is an important one, right? It's about feeling connected to others. It's about having a group of people who are on the same path as you, whether they're at different spots in their journey. But one of the most powerful thing that comes from feeling related to a group of people or having a community around you is you have a group of people who are going to tell you a story about your own success, and they're going to give you a picture of what success can look like. So I think this is a really one you should go read about this self-determination theory. It'll change your life when you see things through these lenses, or that through this lens. And then second off, if you're like learning to code or you're starting out in programming, getting involved in some sort of community, right, is really, really, really helpful, really useful. All right, that's my little tangent on SDT this morning, but it's very good. You should go read about it. Guess whose code base broke? That would be the guy who's grinding. Good morning, Minister of Defense. Good to see you. We'll continue with, what'd you say? We'll continue on with my coding stuff later in the evening. I just have zero energy. No worries, man. Take a respite. Good morning. Cold day in Boston, like 12 degrees. Well, let's see what the weather is here. We can have Stream Elements hook us up with that. Where bro at? Also, friends won't be honest about your code. Strangers are more honest, which help people out in the long run. 100%. Honest feedback is really important. I think that's an interesting takeaway there too, Filthy Potatoes. Like having friends that are honest. It's a good takeaway. Started from the bottom, now we're at the top. That's what Drake said. W theory. It is a W theory. Those guys, there's a whole book on it. It's called the Self-Determination Theory Handbook. It's a wonderful book. It really changed me as a coach, like in terms of how I coached people to lose weight, to get stronger when I was doing personal training and had a gym and was coaching people a lot. It really changed my approach to how I did that work. Let's see. No, I have missed some streams lately. No worries, Wilo Gamer Pro. It's good that you're here today. It's good that you're here today. Steven, do you think Rust, even though... I think what you're asking me is, have I ever thought about trying Rust? And the question is, I'm actively learning to write Rust right now. I'm just doing it off stream. So I've been going through this course called the Fundamentals of Rust. It's a Pluralsight course. Where'd it go? Fundamentals. Fundamentals. Yeah, right here. It's good so far. I'm not very far through it, but I'm just kind of doing this in my free time as time allows. And so far, I like it. Let's see. It's 37 degrees Fahrenheit where I am. So I've got you beat there, Ministry of Defense. It's definitely warmer here. Or I guess you have me beat, because it's definitely warmer here. Full Stack Chiller, writing Go at work while listening to your stream. Great content. Well, thanks, Full Stack Chiller. I hope you're having a good day at work, man. I hope the Go is treating you well. I hope the Go is going well. That's been a running joke on the channel since November. Filthy Potato. Hey, you live like 2.5 hours from me. Nice. Yeah, I'm in Kansas City, Kansas. So we're Midwesterners. Midwesterners unite. When Steven's at 100,000 subscribers, I'm gonna walk into chat with a royal robe. I was part of the original posse. I doubt I ever get to 100,000 subs, but if you did that, that would be pretty baller. Minister of Defense. I'm 46. I'm old. I learned from AOL chat rooms back in 1996. I used to private message a guy who had been a software engineer for 20 years at that point. That's crazy. Well, first off, I don't think 46 is old, man. You know? You got like half a life to live. Basically a whole nother life to live at 46. So I don't think that's old at all. But I love having somebody who's super experienced in the chat. I'm still on that Python thing. Well, keep going, man. Keep going. Keep doing the Python thing. The Go is going? Good. Good. When Steven gets 100K, you better not forget about us. Well, we don't have to worry about that because Steven's never going to get 100,000 subs. So we never have to worry about that, and I won't forget you guys, I promise. KC is my hometown. I'm from the real Kansas City, KC Mo. That's such a vibe. The real Kansas City. Haven't lived there in 30 years, but all my family is still there. Well, that's very cool. Yeah, I didn't grow up here. We moved here for a job. Well, my wife's family lived in the area for a real long time. My wife's dad, but I grew up about 3 hours south of here in a town called Joplin, Missouri. But we moved here in 2021 for work, and I have no complaints. No complaints. That's a lie. I have complaints, but I'm gonna keep them to myself. One second, I gotta blow my nose. I don't. Yeah, Joplin. I don't know if there's a prison there though. I think the state penitentiary is somewhere else. Missouri State Penitentiary. Jefferson City, it looks like maybe. But no, I'm not aware of any prisons near Joplin. I don't know what Joplin's really known for. We had a huge tornado there the year I graduated high school. There was a very big tornado that came through Joplin in 2011. Just completely wrecked the town. Just destroyed it. You can kind of see in this picture. I was a senior in high school when this happened. I think it's one of the largest tornadoes. One of the most devastating tornadoes. It tore down one of our hospitals for the most part. Yeah, it was really bad. Killed 158 people. That honestly, nowadays when I tell people I'm from Joplin here in the United States, they usually will bring up the tornado. That's usually what they'll ask me about. Yeah. There's not really, I don't think there's any really relationship between them. I don't know where the name Joplin came from. But it was a great town. It was a great place to grow up. I mean, I would still love to move back there at some point, or at least have a home base there. That's where my folks are. My sister still lives there. I think it strikes a nice balance. I think it strikes a nice balance between like not a super tiny small town, but also not a super large town. According to AI, it came from a Methodist minister, which I've never heard that before, ever. It was originally a mining town, is what it was. It was originally, originally it was a mining town. It's kind of how it got its starts. Wow, that's a huge death toll. Yeah, it was 158. It was a really big deal. Yeah, it smacked it basically, the tornado basically ran down the middle of the city, which is just kind of unbelievable for a tornado. See you, Artwork Studios. Have a good day, man. Why Philo Gamer Pro, you are 7% there, 7,000 subs. I know, but imagine 7%, right? There's no way I get to 100,000. No way that's happening. Steven, all of them were originally mining towns or farming towns. Okay, fair enough. That's probably a pretty true statement for a lot of places, but it is a true statement for Joplin. Does anyone ever go to websites anymore when Google AI just summarizes? Oh, websites anymore when Google AI just summarizes everything? This has to be killing traffic. It's like undermining SEO. It's definitely undermining SEO if you're going looking for like facts or answers. 100% it is. 100% it is. And I will say too that the AI summaries at the top of the page are getting much better over the last like year. I've noticed they've gotten a lot better. Like who founded Joplin, Missouri? Like this, yeah, this has gotten so much better over the years. So yeah, I think it's for sure probably having impact. So if your website is primarily aimed at delivering information to people, excuse me, I think your traffic has probably seen a pretty big hit. Butterscotch. Good morning, Butterscotch. Good to see you. Check Discord. Well, let me see. Ooh, that's nice. All right. Hey, Butterscotch, do you mind if I show this on stream? Because that is super nice, super clean, super minimalist. AI reduced Stack Overflow traffic. Yeah, it did. But I also think there is a little bit of me that kind of doesn't like that, because a lot of that value that AI is providing comes from people who created those sites like Stack Overflow. And so I do kind of feel icky about the fact that AI basically like gobbled them up and then took half their traffic by using their shit, and then didn't like it didn't they didn't even say thank you. They just did it. So there's stuff like that I kind of find not good, you know. Okay, this is Butterscotch. This is his art. Is this Arch? Yeah, Arch Linux setup. Look how good that looks. Love the theme. Love the opacity, that glassy background. Love that, man. You got good taste. You got good taste. Well, gonna have to claim it via the lawyers. Yeah, but that just sucks. I mean, it sucks to have to like go to court over stuff. all dystopian concrete looks good. I wonder if anyone in Washington is going to bring the hammer down on AI companies and their way they're training their models. I think that, well, the landmark case is going to be the New York Times, right? The New York Times still has a lawsuit that's actively going on versus OpenAI, which is going to be pretty freaking interesting to see how that plays out. Anthropic, though, kind of, you know, Anthropic made a deal. They decided who'd they make a deal with. Anthropic cuts deal for licensing. Like, they made a deal to actually pay somebody to settle this. Who did they settle with? Yeah. U.S. judge preliminary approves $1.5 billion Anthropic copyright settlement. So Anthropic was just like, well, we're not going to fight it. Let's just pay him and be done. So yeah, it'll be very the problem with all this, right? The problem with the OpenAI lawsuit in the New York Times and the copyright infringement, all that stuff, is the problem is there is so much money behind these companies now that it's going to take a lot. It's going to take somebody who's willing to take a lot of heat to rock the boat. You know what I mean? Because when you rock this boat, if you start really fucking with how these companies are able to train and iterate on their models, if you make it more expensive, if you make it more laborious, if you make them having to start pay for all their training data, if you make them have to start disclosing where they got their training data, it's really it's really gonna put a rock in their shoe. Like, yeah. And so you're gonna have somebody who's really willing to upset the apple cart, and that's a rare breed of human being in the world. Amazon has already settled with authors and more is coming. Yeah, they got to do something. I mean, I personally, my personal opinion is it's no different than the ingredient labels on food. Like, there's no reason why people who build and train models shouldn't have to pay for the raw materials that they use to build and train those models, just like every other industry on the world. Just like every other industry in the world, not on the world. And I believe that they should also have to disclose, or they should at least have consumers or model users should have the ability to know what the model was trained on, in my opinion. I think Reddit already also sued. Well, there you go. They're all arming up. Butterscotch, appreciate it. Hope to see you on Arch soon. If I ever switch to Arch, it would be through Omarchy, the DHH project. And if I ever switch to Linux, it would be because I got a new laptop. So whenever I get a new laptop, I've made the commitment that new laptop will be a Linux daily driver, and so at that point we'll have to make a decision on what we want to install. So one day, Butterscotch, one day. Filthy Potato, OMG, I tried Omarchy, I couldn't figure out how to navigate. Oh, because it's all keyboard centric? Yeah, that would be a learning curve. That would be a big learning curve, actually. Yeah. All right, I guess we should see. I honestly don't know, for lack of a better descriptor. Let's see, AOC download. We'll do day 5. There we go. And then let's also make a, oh shoot, my token failed to refresh. I have a bug in that thing somewhere. I'm not sure what it is. Remove the token. Then we gotta do .NET index.cs again. You may now close this window. There we go. Now we're back in action. Oh shoot, did I just overwrite? I did. Gosh dang it. I want to do 5. 5. There we go. And then we'll put an example .txt in there. And let's get in our example input. Copy. Just drop that in. And then we need a main.go, and we need a main test.go. Function, solve part 1, takes a file path, it's a string, returns an int, which for now is just going to be 0. And then in our package main test. We're going to import testing. And we're going to do function test solve part 1 with example input. Thank you, Copilot. Thank you very much. Let's see, result is going to be equal to solve. Let's see, advent of code 2025 CMD 05. If I could spell. No! Go test CMD 05. Oh, I don't want that to pass. It should be, they expect 3. That's what they expect. I don't know why they expect 3, but they expect 3. Okay, so we're all set, ready to rock and roll. Now we just have to get up to speed with what the actual problem is. Are you using Posh, by the way? Yes, I'm using Oh My Posh. So you can get my PowerShell config is here, and my Oh My Posh config is there. I need to update those actually. They're a little dated, but they'll get you most of the way there. Call me silly, but what are the main and main tests for? Why not have it in one file? Just convention. So in Go only knows that you have tests if you, so this is just like the way they design Go. If you run Go test, Go will only look for files suffixed with _test, and it will only run functions, or it will only treat functions as tests if they're prefixed with the keyword test. So you could theoretically have all of this in main _test, right? But I separate them. Just because that's how you typically, you know, set up a project, is you'd have like your source code, which is like the code you're actually going to ship to production, and then you'd have all the code that you use just to facilitate testing that production code in separate files, so that it doesn't get included when you ship something or deploy something. So that's why, just habit, I guess, best practice, which I guess some people would argue what is a best practice, but yeah, just kind of standard convention. Omarchi is very much opinionated. I have used it as a base and heavily customized it to my liking. Yeah, I would, if I switched to Linux, I'd want something that's opinionated for sure. I don't want to configure it all from scratch myself, so I totally would vibe with that. Filthy potato. Oh, it's a Go thing? Yeah, sort of a Go thing, but I mean, when I write tests for TypeScript projects, I put my tests in, like if I have in TypeScript, if I have a file called index.cs, then my test file would be index.spec or index.test.ts, right? So I do it with every language. Same thing in C#. C# is, you know, separate test files to the stuff you're testing. I don't see how you guys code with Copilot autocomplete. It's so distracting. If I do use Copilot, I almost always turn it off. I guess I'm an old man. Well, one, I don't think you're an old man, but two, I totally agree with you. Copilot is like this eager person. Like, have you ever had a conversation with somebody and you're trying to explain yourself and they keep like trying to jump to the end of your story or the conclusion of your sentence before you can get to it, and half the time they're wrong about where you're going with what you're saying? That's what Copilot feels like sometimes. It's like you're sitting there and you're trying to think about what you want to write, and Copilot's like, ooh, I know, and then it distracts you because you're trying to think about what you want to write, but because its completion showed up on the screen, you're now processing what the completion says, so you're distracted from your train of thought. Yeah, it can be very annoying. So I do disable it quite a bit. The times I leave it on, though, is when I want to move really fast through a bunch of code that I already know what it should look like or what it should say, right? Like if I'm adding some controller methods to a C# project, or I'm stubbing out, I don't know, a background worker, or stubbing out a bunch of test methods, right? Where I just want to, I know what all this code should say. I basically know what all of it should look like. I've written it 100 times before. Then that's typically when I'll enable Copilot, and it's like a super powered IntelliSense, you know? But yeah, when I genuinely need to write something novel and new, yeah, I usually say Copilot, Silencio Copilot. They keep injecting, and you're like, shut the fuck up, it's my story. Yeah, 100%. It's like they're totally ruining the whole setup. LOL, hasty story person sounds like my ex. Well, I guess we know why she's your ex, huh? Renee, so Copilot is everyone's parents? Basically. Yeah, basically. Yeah. I think it's time for a second cup of coffee. It's definitely time for a second cup of coffee for me. Felipe Diaz, thanks for subbing, man. I appreciate that. It's very kind. Okay, time to read the problem. Hold on to your hats, folks. Okay. As the forklifts break through the wall, the elves are delighted to discover that there was a cafeteria on the other side after all. You can hear a commotion coming from the kitchen. At this rate, we won't have any time left to put the wreaths up in the dining hall. Oh, what a problem. Resolute in your quest, you investigate. If only we hadn't switched the new inventory management system right before Christmas, another elf exclaims. You ask what's going on. The elves in the kitchen explain that the situation... The elves in the kitchen explain the situation. Because of their complicated new inventory management system, they can't figure out which of their ingredients are fresh and which are spoiled. When you ask how it works, they give you a copy of their database. Because, like, obviously, if a coworker asks how something works, you just do like PG dump and hand them the entire database. How does it work? Well, I don't know. Here's the database. The database operates on ingredient IDs. It consists of a list of fresh ingredient ID ranges, a blank line, and a list of available ingredient IDs. For example, yada, blah, blah, blah. The fresh ID range are inclusive. The fresh ID ranges are inclusive. So the range 3, 5 means that ingredient IDs 3, 4, and 5 are all fresh. The ranges can also overlap. An ingredient ID is fresh if it is in any range. The elves are trying to determine which of the available ingredient IDs are fresh. In this example, this is done as follows. Ingredient ID 1 is spoiled because it does not fall into any range. ID 5 is fresh. ID 8 is spoiled. 11 is fresh. 17 is fresh. 32 is spoiled. Okay. So in this example, 3 of the available ingredient IDs are fresh. Process the database file from the new inventory management system. How many of the available ingredient IDs are fresh? This reminds me of a problem from last year where they gave us ranges like this. Let me look at my input real quick. I'm guessing my input ranges are very large. Yeah. This reminds me of a problem from last year where we had to do, basically you could brute force it, but then you also at some point they gave you ranges that were way too big that you had to do some sort of fancy range intersection problem or something. I don't even remember it really. Filthy potato, easy, database swipe. Yeah, who does that? Who just dumps out the entire database and then hands it over? Okay, so here's how I think we should solve this. Here's what I think we should do. Actually, hold on. I want to put all of these. That's 10, 14, 16, 20. So we do have an overlapping range here. 12, 18, and 16, 20, those overlap. So what I think we should do, these are our IDs. So what I think we should do is first thing we gotta do is we gotta parse this input, right? So that's, step one is parse the input. Parse the input. We should have a list of ranges. And then we should also have a list of IDs. The next thing we should do is I think we should sort the ranges. So sort the ranges. Which means if we had them like, basically what we should end up with is we should end up with 3, 10, 12, 16, and then we should merge them, right? So we should sort them and then we should merge them, which I don't know if I could do this in one step, but I know I can do it in two. So I'm going to start with doing it in two. Ranges. Also, it'd help if I could spell. Yeah, like this. Which means then instead of us having these, we are going to end up with 12 to 20 is what we're going to end up here. Because we'd actually merge this one to this, or we'd merge these two together. So we take the largest, or the minimum start and the maximum end. So this way we'd end up with 3 ranges we need to check. And then we would just iterate through the IDs and see if the ID value falls in those ranges. So that's what I'm going to try to implement. Simplistic, but I think it'll work. Renee, rules-based source generator, that's my answer for all AOC problems from now on. Went down the new partial feature rabbit hole last night. I haven't gone very far down the source generator rabbit hole. I hear they can do some very powerful and very cool things. I went to a talk at the Kansas City Developer Conference this past summer, and a guy named Eric something, I can't remember his last name. He's from Sweden or the Netherlands. He gave a talk on source generators, but I haven't yet done anything with them. I guess the source generation API is really important when you consider C# wants to have better support for doing ahead of time compilation. So if you do ahead of time compilation, you can't rely on a lot of those reflection APIs, I guess, that are built in to .NET. So therefore you have to rely on compile time source generation. Alright, so let's get our input. We will do, okay, Copilot, be quiet. Silencio Copilot. File.read all lines. We'll get the file path. And then we need to basically split this at the empty line. So I think what I'll do is I'll do for line in input. I'll do if line equals just a new line. Whoops, I don't need the parentheses. I was writing a lot of TypeScript yesterday, so forgive me if that creeps into the code today. Let's do format.println I. See how many of these are in there. Okay, that's not going to work. See the empty string in there. 4, yeah, so I think 4 is what I would expect. So example, let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Okay, so we can look for the empty string, and that'll be our demarcation point. Yeah. So I guess I'll just have a I don't know. I only want to go through the lines once, so I feel like I should just have some sort of Boolean that's like parse IDs, which is false, and then whenever I encounter this, I'll set parse IDs to true. And then I'll just, I mean, this is so ugly, but then I'll just have a check, I guess, that says if parse IDs, we will we'll treat them differently. Otherwise, we will pretend like they're all ranges, is what we'll do. So we'll do format.println parsing range, and then we'll do format.println parsing ID. You can use the string.fields function. What is that? String.fields? I don't know about that method. How do I... Dude, why can't I get to the... There we go. String.fields in Go. Okay. So you're saying if I use strings dot fields, I can. So if I do parts and I do strings dot fields and I pass in the input. Oh no, that's not going to work because I'm using lines. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work for me in my case. The way I'm the way I abstracted reading. I guess I could do read all text and I could split by I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to get distracted by yeah, I'm not going to get distracted by other people's ideas about how to solve it. Silencio, Bruno. That's right. Silence. My neighbor's daughter is 18. She grew up with her mother and has come to visit her father for the holidays. They each see each other twice a year. Now the boyfriend is here every 5 minutes. Like, dude, read the room. Dude, that's what happens. What do you expect? You have an 18-year-old daughter. Like, she doesn't want to hang out with her. She doesn't want to hang out with her dad. She wants to hang out with her boyfriend. She's 18. What did we all want to do at 18? I mean, I'm 32, so 18 wasn't that long ago, but I definitely remember that when I was 18, all I wanted to do was lift weights, study for my personal trainer certification, hang out with my girlfriend, which is my now wife, and that was about it. I wanted to work out, learn about working out, and hang out with my wife, hang out with my girlfriend. Imagine we do a day where only chat creates the algorithm. Yeah, we could do that. I mean, we could do like a VS Code live share, and chat could just fight over solving it. All right, so we're gonna do IDs, which is going to be equal to a slice of int. I'm actually going to do this. I'm actually going to make this a slice of int 64, maybe, because I think the input numbers are pretty large. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, I think those are quite large numbers. So I'm going to do int64. So if we are parsing an ID, then we're going to say ID is equal to stir convert.atoi. That's going to take in our, oh, not atoi. We have to do, is it parse? Yeah, we have to do parse int because we want to say, give me the current line, give me this as a 10 base number, and give me 64 bit, right? And then we're going to ignore any errors. And we're going to say IDs, append ID. And then for the range is going to be a little bit more abstract. I think what I'd like to do here is I'd like to have something that's like RNG. Oh, I have a range already, don't I? I probably just need to pull that out into a separate class. Yeah, I should probably just pull that out into a separate class, shouldn't I? Or not a separate class, but a separate package. That way I can reuse it. Because this basically does what I want it to do, only there are some problem specific solutions here. just gonna add a to-do real quick. To-do refactor this to separate package and internal. For now, though, I'll just copy this parsing logic for now. So we'll do main.go. We'll paste this over here. This will be oh, yep. So then this, we will have our ranges, which will be a slice of RNG. And this will be equal to RNG.from. From, we'll pass in the line. But let's rename this to be, instead of from for now, let's just rename this to be new range, like that. And then let's print this. So we should have format.println IDs, format.println see if we get what we expect. Hey, good morning, Rampla. How are you doing? Good to see you, man. Titano. I haven't tried admin of code. Is it similar to LeetCode? Yeah, it's. I mean, the underlying puzzles are very similar to the fact that you're kind of using your knowledge of data structures and algorithms to solve them, but they're kind of dressed up in like a more fun holiday themed way, Titano, but essentially that's kind of what we're doing. Renee, get it out of your system and do some real bonding. That relationship isn't going to last anyway. I give it 6 months. By the way, my neighbor, the dad of the girl, is pretty cool, bro. Always invites me for beer. Yeah, but you know, Prashant, thanks for subbing. You know, I mean, when you're 18, you just, I always have a hard time faulting the behavior of young people because I was young, you know, and I remember. I mean, I guess to some people I still am young, but I'm 32. But I remember what it was like to be 18, you know, and so it just doesn't surprise me. Did anyone ever tell you you look like Charles from the Office TV series? Well, I love The Office, but no one's ever told me that. Are you talking about Charles Minor? There's no way you're talking about Charles Minor, are you? Is there like a Charles in the British cast? Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about. But there's no way I look like Idris Elba. Who is that guy? Who is that Google guy on YouTube who does LeetCode vids? Prime did a video on him the other day. NeetCode, I think is who you're talking about. NeetCode? Rampla. Nope, hold on. Okay, well, yeah, I'm like gonna say. NeetCode? I think that's who you're talking about. This guy? At least this was who the Prime was talking about the other day in his video. I think that's who you're talking about. Excuse me. Clip it. 199. I loved that Neat Code video. It was very good. Oh, you did like? You liked Neat Code's video, or you liked Primogen's video about Neat Code? Renee, Charles is black. Yeah, but Rampla said, oh, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is Charles from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Well, that's a funny show too. Oh, I guess I can kind of see it. Yeah, I've never had anyone tell me that, but I could see it. I can see how you get there. No, I've never heard that though. I've had a lot of people tell me on stream that they thought I was originally coding with Lewis, and so that's why they stopped to watch. I have had that one. Somehow my lights got turned down. I'm not sure exactly how, but it's much better. You're stoned? Nice. Well, it's hard to remember things when you're stoned. 199, the video where he crashed out. Oh, where Neat Code crashed out? Yeah. I don't know. I didn't really like that video. My take was, dude, it's not that big a deal. Like, there's children starving in Africa right now. Like, I don't think you should be crashing out over the fact that people are asking you comments on your video. I think you should be grateful that people are giving your content any attention whatsoever. If you don't like the comments or the questions they put in the comments, just ignore them. If it really works you up that much. Also, the guy can't be older than me, and the way he was talking in that video was like, it was like, oh my god, like things were so much different long ago when I started, and it was like, bro, you're 30, you can't be older than 32. You must have started at the most, you must have started 18 years ago or something like that, and you're acting like the world has changed so much. So I kind of rolled my eyes at the video. Prime's reaction to the video was fine. But people need a reason to be mad. Yeah, that they do. People will go out of their way to be mad. Okay, we've got our ranges. So now let's sort these ranges, right? That's the next step. We need to put, we're basically just always going to sort by the start. So we will do, I mean, I guess we could do the sorting. Couldn't we do the sorting in this loop? Right? So well, I'll do it outside that loop, but I think we can do it in that loop. That would save us an iteration. It would save us actually more than one iteration. So we're gonna do for range in ranges. That. Neat code things because he worked for Google. The sun is shining out of the dark beyond. Also, has anyone checked if he actually worked for Google? YT claims. Yeah, I don't know if he actually has either. And nor do I really, honestly, nor do I really give a shit where anyone's worked. Like this whole pedigree around big tech, it feels a lot like the pedigree in higher education where people are like, well, I went to Harvard. Well, I went to Yale. Well, I don't really give a shit, you know? Like, well, I worked at Microsoft and, I worked at Google. I worked at Netflix. And it's like, yes, I'm sure some of the best developers in the world have never worked there. I'm sure some of the best developers in the world have worked at have worked at those companies, but I'm also confident that some of the best developers in the world have never worked at those companies. So please stop telling me where you worked as some sort of appeal to authority. Like, all those companies hire shit people just like every other company on earth. And they hire great people just like every other company on earth. I worked at Amazon. Yeah. Hey, I worked at Intel. Hey, I went to Harvard. I went to Princeton. Like, I don't care, man. You're just trying to appeal to some unexperienced, uneducated people's very shallow understanding of the world. Oh, you worked at Microsoft. You must be cracked out of your mind. I'm not saying you aren't cracked out of your mind, but I'm not saying because you worked at Microsoft that means you know what you're talking about. Everyone I know who worked at Amazon will brag about it. It's fine. You can brag about it, but I'm going to roll my eyes. you know? People are free to live their life the way they want to live it. They're free to say what they want to say it. People are free to live their life the way they want to live it. They're free to say what they want to say. And I'm free to have a reaction to it. I worked at Lockheed Martin. It was the bomb. That does sound like the bomb. Mercy. What language is this? This is Go, Mercy. Who wants to brag about peeing in water bottles? Just like, how fragile is your ego if you need to start every conversation with, well, when I used to work at Microsoft. I mean, it's one thing if you are telling a story, like the Primeagen. I know a lot of people make fun of the Primeagen because he'll bring up the fact he worked at Netflix, but he's not bringing up the fact he worked at Netflix as a way to like flex on other people. He's bringing it up because he's telling a story in the context of when he was employed at Netflix. So there's a difference. It's different when you're like using it to flex on other people and try to establish some form of authority on a topic just because of where you were employed. It's another thing if you're using it to set the context for some story you're going to share about something you learned or some experience you had. These are two entirely different things. Titano, my dad works at Nintendo and he can ban you. That would be the ultimate flex growing up. Man, when we got our Nintendo 64 at my house, those were the good days. Those were the good days. But imagine being able to go to school and tell people that. Yo, you better behave yourself or I'll get my dad to block you from playing Super Smash Brothers. I mean, that was all before though people were playing really online very much, Nintendo 64 had no online component to it that I'm aware of. My daddy owns Rockstar. Alright, so you need to loop over the range. Well, actually, hold on. Is there a sort function in Go for slices? I mean, I could implement this myself, but slices.sort. I don't think this is what I want though. I do want I do want to be able to provide like callback. Like I want something like JavaScript where it's like I want something that's like this dot sort a b, right? And I want to be able to do a dot start minus b dot start. That's essentially what I want to be able to do. Let's see how I do this in Go. Let's see. In JavaScript, when you want to sort an array, you can use the sort method on the array prototype. Is there something similar for slices in Go? I think there is. I think we used it before when we were practicing Advent of Code problems, but I don't remember what it was. Yeah, I think we want this right here. Let's see. Does sort func mutate the original slice? Okay, that's good. I want to be aware of that. So we don't need to do this. We need to do this. And then instead of having a new slice, we'll just mutate the original. And then instead of passing in this, we'll pass in ranges. This will be an RNG type. And then this is going to return B start. And Y. Why can I not do that? A dot start undefined. It's lowercase. So then let's print. So let's print the ranges first up here. And then we'll print the ranges again after the sort just to verify that they're sorted. And then then we have to do I think the hardest part of the problem, which is we have to merge. Yes, this is correct. So now we have to merge the ranges. Which I think is more difficult than what it appears because you don't really know. Like you could have multiple overlapping ranges, couldn't you? Theoretically. So merging is not, I don't think, a straightforward. Or maybe it is. I guess you could look at the last thing you merged, couldn't you? Yeah, but Prime also had some major issues early in his life. Yeah, didn't he have issues with addiction? He had some really tough early years. I appreciate his story though. I appreciate his testimony for sure. It sounds like he's in a really good place now, which is awesome to see. About Prime, I always appreciate peeps who can manage themselves out of dire situations. Makes our problem seem small, 100%. Although I'm sure some people here have some issues of their own they are worrying about. Yeah, I think I was having a conversation with my mom and my stepdad the last time, or like the second to last time they were up here visiting. And we were having a conversation about this, about how Well, first of all, our conversation originally started about just how lucky we are, like how fortunate we are in our circumstances in life, you know? And then obviously that took us to the conversation of just how people have um, some really unfortunate circumstances. Actually, there's this organization called CASA that my sister works for, and they deal with CASA. It stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates, and they basically help look out and take care of children who have been abused or neglected and are going into or coming out of the foster care system. My sister is the director for the CASA in my hometown in Joplin, and we were talking about how, it's so unfortunate because these children that are in these situations, they didn't do anything to deserve it. They just got unlucky. They just got born to like the wrong people in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I luckily didn't. So to your point, it's like, yeah, but then when I hear stories of people who came from these types of circumstances, came from dire circumstances, or even in this case, they didn't do anything to get there, but like in Prime's case where they make bad choices, I respect people who can pull themselves out of that. You know, I think it speaks to how capable and how resilient human beings can be. And it's also a reason why I just don't have any excuse, or why I think I just don't have any excuse to be grateful, to be happy, to be enthusiastic about the day, right? Like, yes, do I have problems occasionally that I have to deal with? Sure. But nothing compares to what other people are going to a lot of times. The demons they're fighting or the circumstances they're trying to overcome. It's like it both motivates and inspires as well as gives you perspective and gratitude all at the same time. Filthy potato addiction. Beat that shit 5 years ago. Well, congratulations, man. That's awesome, dude. Congratulations. That's a rough road to travel. And I'm glad you're no longer traveling it. Okay, merge. Focus, Steven. Merge. Okay, so we're gonna do merged ranges, which is, this will have to be a new slice. So we'll do that, and then we are gonna loop over each of the in our ranges. Thank you. It was a crazy path, not worth. Stay sober, ladies and gents. Yeah, I will definitely take your advice on that one. 100% will take your advice. That's one of those situations where I don't think I need to try it to know if I agree with you or not. I'll just agree with you. Stand on the shoulders of giants. So I think what we need to do is we need to see what was the last thing we merged, right? So last merged range is going to be equal to merged ranges, length of merged ranges minus 1. Although, I think, will that throw if there's nothing in there? Yeah, that will throw. So I guess we have to check to see if there's anything in there before we access last merge ranges. So I think the first thing we can do is we can say if the let's see, length merged ranges length is equal to the length of merged ranges, and then we'll do merge ranges length minus 1. So if the length equals 0, we know we're kind of at the beginning of this process, and so we should just shove the first range in there and move on with our life. So we should do something like this. Oh, actually what we could do is, couldn't we just initialize the merge ranges with the first item from our ranges? So couldn't we just do this? Ranges, because they're sorted. We already know they're sorted. Can we just do that? I think so. Yeah, I think that will work. We'll try that. We'll try that. Hey, good morning, Toad Sage. It's been a while, dude. How you been? Pretty damn good. Just to survived a 7.5 mag earthquake. Wow. Is that in the news? Is that a large earthquake? That's what I should be asking. 7.7. 7.5 earthquake. You're in Japan, aren't you? Oh wow, yeah. Gonna have some aftershocks too, it looks like. Wow. Well, I'm glad to hear you're okay, man. That's crazy. Triggers a tsunami, injures 23. Wow, dude. Not cool. Not cool at all. Well, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you got to stop by the stream, but more importantly, I'm just glad you're okay. That's crazy. We were talking about tornadoes earlier. I don't know if we jinxed you or something with our bad weather talk. Hokkaido, Japan. Yeah, there we go. Azzy, teach me easy way to read codes. Teach me easy way to read the codes. There's not really an easy way. I mean, it just is reps. You know, it's like reading English or reading whatever language. You learn it through doing it. There's no shortcut. There's not like an easy way to read English. You just go to school and you read a lot of books and you write a lot and you just do it. But it's not there's no like science to it. That's the thing. There's no like scientific way to approach learning it. You just got to get lots of reps under your belt. Hello, Pablo. Good to see you, man. Is this today? What do you mean? Like, is the earthquake? Are we talking about the earthquake, or are we talking about advent of code? Filthy potato. Why you read code and not me? The easiest way to read code is just read about context. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the way you get better at reading code is by reading code, which sounds pedantic, but that's the truth in my opinion. I mean, obviously you should probably know how to write code. That helps you read it, but it's also a skill to like read code because of the way code is structured and organized. There's a skill to like looking at a code base and being able to like follow a stack and follow function calls and jump between files and there's kind of there's like a skill and a workflow to it, but you only get good at it by doing it. Earthquake was today? Yeah, I think so. I think it was 3 hours ago, if I'm reading the news correctly, which, I mean, I could be reading it incorrectly, but I'm pretty sure Japan earthquake, Paschi, I think is how you say your name. Thanks for subbing, man. That's very nice of you. Yeah, it looks like it was like an hour ago. Yeah, there's a bunch of news stories about it. Major Japan earthquake triggers tsunami warning. That was 2 hours ago from Newsweek. And then the BBC reported 10 hours ago, dozens injured after magnitude 7.5 quake strikes northern Japan. So it looks like it was late on Monday. Yeah, looks like it was late on Monday. I think there's a website for reading and modifying people's code. I think it's called Code Wars. Yeah, Code Wars is good. I've done way more Code Wars than I've done Leak Code. But Code Wars is much more like Leak Code, in my opinion. Ferris Dev, are you coding in Java? No, I'm coding in, I'm working in Go right now for Advent of Code. So I typically work in C# and TypeScript like normally, but the last 39 days of the channel has been a lot of Go. Good morning, Agent. How are you? Hope you're doing great. Is this Python? I am doing well, sir. I'm healthy. My wife's healthy. My kids are healthy. I've got food in my pantry and hot running water, so there's nothing to be down about over here. It is not Python. This is Go. So if you ever heard of the Go programming language, I think Google came up with it. Go.dev, I think is where you can find documentation on it. We started learning this in November so that we could do Advent of Code in it. Normally I'm a C# and TypeScript person, but we're doing Advent of Code in Go. Pablo, how did AOC go? We're still doing it. We're still doing it. We spent a lot of time chatting this morning and not a whole lot of time writing code. We're still doing it. Right now we're at the point where we're going to do some merging of ranges to try to cut down on the number of checks we have to do. So what we're going to do is, now that we have a last merged range, we're going to check and see if the current range that we're on, if its start is greater than the last end, right? Then we want to merge ranges.append RNG. Otherwise, we are going to do last merged ranged. We're going to set the in field to whatever the result of maxing the end of the last range and the current end range. So this would be, I think they have a max function. Yeah, so we can do max of last merged range end, and then I guess we have to cast that. Current, no, range end. I keep wanting to say current, so I'm going to rename this to be current range. Yeah, like this. And then we'll just print what we have from the merge ranges. So we'll do format dot print line merge ranges. So we should end up, I think, with 3 instead of 4 now, if we did this correctly. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. Hold on, wait. We did something wrong because we ended up with 16 versus 20. Oh, you know what? Do we need to replace it? Or do we need to continue? Oh yeah, we need to continue here. Well, that's one thing we need to do. Is we need to continue here. Does that fix it? No, we're still getting 16. And I think that's... Why is that happening? We're checking to see if the start is greater than the end, which means then we're past whatever the last merged range is, so we append it. And then we're getting the max of whatever the end is. I wonder if I have to replace it since I'm working with structs. Do I need to do something like this? Yeah. Nope, that's not it. That's just completely wrong. So what have I, okay, what have I done wrong here? Done something wrong. See you, Toad Sage. Have a good day, man. Stay away from the earthquakes. If someone asks you how to learn code in X language, how would you guide them? Because I'm struggling with how to learn Python to translate this knowledge to GD script. Hold on, hold on. I'm struggling with how to learn Python. And then so you're learning Python to learn GD script, or you know GD script and you're trying to learn Python? I'm not sure I understand that approach. I think my advice to anybody who wants to code in X language is basically to do what I did with Go, which is I think it helps to start with some sort of structured tutorial. Where is it? This was the plan we used. I think it helps to start with some sort of structured tutorial. In our case, we did CF. Thanks for subbing. In my case, I did Tour of Go, and then I did Learn Go with Test. Both of these are kind of well-structured tutorials that kind of introduce you to the language and the syntax. And then I think it's really helpful to either solve like leak code or solve code wars, or in my case, I did a bunch of practice admin of code problems. And then you also need to sit down and try to build some of your own projects. So don't follow any tutorials, just try to rebuild a URL shortener in that language or build a to-do app in that language. I think that's the best approach. I mean, that's what I did to learn Go, so I could use it for admin of code. And at this point, I would say like I can work in Go. I don't know if I would say I'm necessarily proficient in it yet, but I know enough of it to at least solve problems. So it worked. I mean, it worked well enough at this point. That would be the advice I would give. I mean, I guess it would be kind of disingenuous to give you advice that doesn't align with what I actually did. There it is. That's what we're trying to accomplish. So I just have one little bug in my merge range functions, or my merge range code. I'm getting 1620 and I want 1420 is what I want. Pablo, do you really need to merge the ranges, or were you spoiled about part 2? Well, I don't think I need to merge the ranges, and I haven't yet heard what you do in part 2. I did say earlier that it reminded me a lot of a problem that we had last year where they did like range intersection. So basically they gave you like these incredibly large ranges, and there wasn't really a good way to solve the problem without doing some sort of range intersection, which I think is kind of what I'm doing by merging them. But I basically just merged them because it would be less loops that we would have to do, less checks. So it's kind of, this is, I guess this could be seen as like a premature optimization, but I thought it was the right thing to do. Titano, I'm building a recommendation system with TensorFlow, but I keep getting stumped by the complexity. Kind of shot myself in the foot trying to be an architecture astronaut as well. Well, don't we all do that, you know? We all want to be architecture astronauts. Java is 100% not the best language to learn first if you have zero knowledge of coding. Yeah, I always recommend JavaScript as everyone's first programming language. I know that's a hot take for some people, but that's what I always recommend. Let's see, GDScript is the scripting language used in the Go.game engine, but it doesn't really have many tutorials. Python is really similar to it, but much more learning material. That's why I want to learn it first. Oh. Huh. I've never actually heard anybody tell me they were doing that. I think... Oh, shoot, it's 6 o'clock. So if we want to make coffee, we need to do it now. I think... What do I think? What do I think about that? I don't know what GDScript looks like or what kind of language it is, so I'm not really even sure how transferable Python related concepts are to GDScript. Like definitely programming or coding related concepts are transferable to GDScript. Seems like a white space. Somebody needs to start a YouTube channel around how to learn GDScript or something. Yeah, that seems hard, Agent 818. I don't have a good answer because I just don't know about GDScript enough to be like, well, how would I go about translating what I learned? Let's see, you are doing great at part 2, but this is overkill for part 1. Okay, so you think I can just not worry about this for now? I'll just comment that out then. Okay, so I have my sorted ranges, and then I just need to loop over my IDs and check to see if they're in there. So we could do... let's see if we can do a quick solve, and then if not, then we'll go make the coffee real quick and come back. So we'll do var discard ID, range over IDs. And then we're going to range over our ranges. Also, I'm going to put a note here that says to do Pablo. Now your name is in my code. Pablo says no need. And then we'll do range over our ranges. And then we'll basically just say if ID is greater than or equal to range dot... Oops. It would help if I could... Look at me, I was saying, oh yeah, I learned Go, and then I can never write a for loop correctly in Go. So if ID is greater than or equal to range dot start, and ID is less than or equal to range dot end, then we know it's a fresh ingredient. Isn't that what we were looking for originally? Fresh ingredients. Yeah, fresh ID, I guess is what we're looking for. So then we'll just increment our total, and then down here, we'll return our total. Give this another shot here. So expected 3 but got 4. So I messed something up. Oh, because there's see that because there's overlap. So I guess I could do a flag is fresh, started as false, and then do is fresh. True. And then like I could skip. I mean I could skip the check, but it probably doesn't matter. And then we'll say if is fresh. This is ugly. I don't like this. But I think this will work. Yeah, there we go. We just have to account for the fact that there could be multiple. It could basically the ID could fall in many of the multiple ranges that were given. Okay. So I guess let's try with our puzzle input and then we can refactor. Oh shit. It sounded like someone fell upstairs, but I think they were just moving a chair around. That scared me. You can break from that inner loop. Oh, yes. Yeah. Pablo, you're much smarter than I am. So you're going to say if we're in here. Yeah. Yep. I see what you're saying. So we do total plus plus, and then break. Nice. Yep. That's way less ugly. Sometimes I write ugly code, okay? I'm not the most handsome guy, and I don't write the prettiest code. Do -1. We'll set this to be input.txt. All right, here we go. Ferris, I make web scrapers with Python, so I'm not that of a beginner. Oh, nice. Well, that's awesome that you're doing programming already. What were we talking about? Ashuto, good morning. Good to see you. Sorry I missed your message amongst the flurry of chat. I missed your entrance. GD script feels like JavaScript, by the way. Well, maybe then it makes more sense to learn Agent 818 if you're still here. Maybe it makes more sense to take a look at JavaScript instead of Python. Thank God you deleted it. We'll see. No, like I said, I will defend Java to my dying breath. Dude, that is literally something only someone who writes code or a programmer would say. I will defend her honor. I will defend Java's honor. You're way too talented for web dev anyways. Join the dark side. What does that mean? Does that mean web developers aren't talented, Renee? Is that what you're saying? I think web developers are talented. Ferris, unemployed. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being employed or unemployed. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people want to be employed, but if you're unemployed, you shouldn't, don't look down on yourself because of that. I mean, that's just, it happens. Renee, you got any of those dark side jobs you talked about? I love that my chat is farming for work. It's okay, guys. It's okay. Guys, chill, 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 chill. Uh, we don't need to uh we don't need to start a fight over Java, okay? Java was here before us. It'll be here way long after us. You know, people make money doing all kinds of things. It's so funny because everyone's always arguing about like what you should use to write code and build projects, and then there's the PHP crowd that's just happily over there helping small businesses, you know, making lots of money. They're like, yeah, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna use PHP in 2025. I kind of, you know what? I kind of fuck with those folks because I think you should use the tools that you like, and I would encourage other people to do the same. All right, let's see if this works. I think we got 643. What just happened? Did I get logged out? Oh, I got logged out. How'd that happen? Submit. Yeah, let's go. Pablo was right. The merging of the ranges, I guess, was overkill. It wasn't necessary. But it sounds like it's going to be necessary for part 2, so I'm not even going to look at part 2. I am going to leave it there, though. Okay, so we have some tidying up to do. Honestly, I don't feel like doing the tidying up right now. I want to go make some coffee. So let's go make the coffee of the day. Hold on one sec. I gotta go make sure that stuff's all set up. All right, chat, ready? To the coffee station in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. What are we talking about? Sorry, the audio is just going to be what the audio is because it's going to have to come through my phone. I don't have any better microphone for it. coffee time. Get the water brewing. Or heating, I guess. It's not really brewing. Is that your desk or your kitchen? This is my basement. So my office is in there, and then this is like a little bar area that's in the basement of this house that we're running. So I moved some coffee stuff down here so that I could make coffee on stream. All right, today's coffee of the day for Advent, and also I apologize for my bedhead. It is what it is. Okay, we have officially moved off the continent of Africa today. We are in El Salvador, and the tasting notes they've listed for today are rose, white grape, fig, and black tea, which doesn't sound particularly good, but it is what it is. An office connected to something like a bar is so cool. Yes, haven't really used the bar since we moved in here. This is the first time I've really used this area for anything, but it does come in handy. I told my wife we need to get an upstairs coffee machine and a downstairs coffee machine. She said that was not necessary, and she's probably right. Also, I do apologize again that the audio is not super great right now because I'm working off of an old cell phone, and normally I connect like some Bluetooth headphones to the phone, but I didn't charge those last night because I didn't prepare. Loud noises. Rampla, I do have a pet. I have one pet, and it's a dachshund, a dog. His name is Opie. Nope, Def need 4 coffee pots. I agree, Filthy Potato. We need a coffee machine on every level of the home, basically. He's fairly chill. He's kind of needy. He's old now, so he's super, super needy. Crap, I keep trying to look at chat and keep swiping my stream away. To be honest, I should get a coffee machine. You really should, Ducky Dev. Also, Ducky Dev, are you feeling better? I know you were kind of down. You were feeling sick, weren't you, or something? Something was going on the other day. All old dogs are cool. Are cool, young, old don't matter unless they fart. Oh boy, that will clear out the room. Yeah, well, our old dog farts, so our old dog farts and is needy. So we got the best of both worlds, I guess. No, he's a very good dog. I think it's less about him changing and more about me changing. I think since I became a dad, because we had our dog before we had our kids, and I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten grumpier and have less patience for taking care of things. You know, the more dependence you have, there's like an inverse relationship between the amount of energy you have to care for things and the number of things you have to care for. You know, so like you have your wife and your kids, so your dog kind of goes down to the bottom of the list. It's just kind of how life is. All right, I'm gonna go take a bathroom break while this brews. But I'll be right back. BRB. All right, I'm back. Now we wait for the coffee to brew. Let me catch up on chat here. Yeah, see Ducky Deb. Yeah, got sick on the worst day possible, one day before my B day or something. That sucks, dude. Well, I hope your birthday was good nonetheless, and I hope you're feeling better. Titano, I'm 2 cups of coffee ahead of time, Swedish time zone and Swedish coffee habits, dude. I'm gonna time travel here and drink like 3 cups of coffee in the next hour. So I'll be ahead of you. Filthy Potato, my dog is my son, which is totally valid. It's totally valid take. It's just not. It's not my life. I mean, I love my dog, but I love my kids more than I love my dog. Anonymous RNGE. What, you don't like my range shorthand? Well, Go doesn't have a way to escape keywords like C# does, so you can't do this, which is an L. That's an L on Go's part compared to C#. In C#, I don't know if you guys knew this, but in C#, if you want to name something that's a reserved keyword, you can do it. You just have to prefix it with an @ sign, and you're home free. At home, we have a lot of coffee because my dad goes to other countries with delegates and he receives a lot of gifts, most of which are coffee. Well, that's a killer job. How do I get a job where I get to travel to a bunch of different countries and just get given coffee? How does that work? Pablo, by the way, if you do the merge range solutions, you will have it easier tomorrow. Oh, well, maybe we can try to figure that out then? Yeah? Yeah, maybe we can try to figure this out. So we have our solution to part we have our solution to part 1 of day 5, but I haven't been able to figure out the merge range functionality, so we can spend a little bit of time doing that until the end of the stream, because it will probably take me till the end of the stream to figure it out. Titano, are you Swedish? Oh yeah, you said you're Swedish time zone, didn't you? Nice. I would love, that's actually one of the places I would love to visit. Pablo, could be fun, yeah. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. Let's go get the cup of coffee and let's come back and do that. All right, coffee has been made. To the office. Man, the stream, I tell you what, the stream today went really fast for me. I don't know why. Just also, I don't know why my microphone started peaking all of a sudden. Hello, hello. There we go. That's better. To the Batmobile. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. To the Batmobile. Test, test, test. Yeah, for some reason my mic is hotter. Testing, 1, 2. There we go. That's better. That's better. Renee, this was an exciting stream in chat. Was it? I mean, it just kind of, it went quick. went quick for me. Like I looked up and it was 6 o'clock. We hadn't made coffee. We hadn't solved having a code. It was flying by. Never ask a developer how many cups of coffee they drunk. Why not? You guys are always welcome to ask me how many cups of coffee I've drank. Never ask a man about his salary. I don't know. That's one that I've softened on personally. I mean, growing up, I was always taught not to talk about money or to ask people about money. But I realize that now that's like largely a psyop by the rich and wealthy to prevent those of us who aren't rich and wealthy from getting rich and wealthy. I think having the ability to talk about money is really, really important. I think people who have a lot of money tend to talk about it and think about it more than those who don't, even, which I know some people disagree with, but I think that's the truth. So I don't think there's anything wrong with asking somebody what they make. I think you just want to make sure you don't have the expectation that they're always going to tell you. And then I also think there's something to be said about making sure that you have some self-awareness to know, like, do I have the type of relationship where this person would feel comfortable disclosing that type of information to me? Because that's like, I don't really go around the internet telling people how much money I make, but I do talk to my friends and some of my colleagues about it, right? Because I trust them and I feel comfortable with them knowing and having that information. So I think there's a lot of context there. You know, I don't think that's a blanket safe statement that it's like rude or untoward to ask somebody what they make. It's just having awareness of, like, should you ask that question in the first place? Pablo, yeah, it's weird not to speak about money. Agreed. And you're actually, I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't learn how to talk about money and have conversations about money. It's a disservice to you in your future. Companies steer away from talking about salaries because people always get paid more or less and it makes them upset. So that's how we grow up thinking money is a bad thing to talk about. 100%. But the problem is, we shouldn't, when we find out our coworkers make more or make less than us, like, regardless of what end of that conversation you're on, the the thing there shouldn't be upsetness at each other. Or even at your company, what you should be doing is you should look at it as intelligence gathering, right? You're using it to form a picture of how is compensation structured at your company or within the industry at large, so that you can then approach negotiations with your employers or your future employers from a much more advantageous position, right? That's how we should look at it. We shouldn't get upset about it. We all know that there are people that make more than us. Like, there are people that have bigger houses, drive nicer cars, right? All those things. So it should make us upset because it's just a given that people make more or less than us. We should have those conversations to benefit each other so that we all have more information to work with. Because right now, or in a lot of cases, when you're talking to an employer or you're talking to a future employer, there is an asymmetry in knowledge, right, in that negotiation. And so the more that you can close that or reduce that asymmetry, the better, in my opinion. Titano, are these your usual stream hours pre 6 a.m. North America time? Yes. So my schedule is typically 4:15 a.m. to 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, Titano. So I'll put my schedule in the stream there for your reference. Renee, this is the level of discord and passion we should have in each stream. Was there passion here? Oh, are you guys talking about when you guys were arguing about Java? I mean, if you guys want to argue about stuff, that's fine. I probably will just not join in. But y'all are welcome to do that. Potato, we live in a world of haters, though. Yeah, I don't know. I try to remain optimistic about the human race most of the time. I do see a lot of things that I think, why are people like that? But I try to remain optimistic, especially because I'm a dad and I have kids. I sort of it's almost like call it a coping mechanism, but I almost need to be optimistic and hopeful about people in the future, because at some point I'm not going to be here, and they are still going to be here, and so, so I try to take the good and leave the bad as much as I can from most things in life. Pablo, you can also learn what your highest salary possible is at that company. Exactly. And then, Pablo, to your point, that information then helps you decide how long am I going to stay here, and at what point should I start trying to position to exit or leave. Yeah. Because I'm sure we all have a dollar figure in mind that we'd like to earn. And so it'd be nice to know sooner than later if you can actually achieve that where you are. Filthy potato. C++ is better than Java. Well, let's start a real fight. Python is better than C++. Or no, how about JavaScript is a better language than C? We're just we're gonna start a bunch of fights. People can clip this and just post it online and just rage bait people for days. Renee, dude, top 5 stream ever. Oh, nice. Well, I'm glad everybody had, or at least Renee, I'm glad you had a lot of fun. I had fun this morning. I mean, the first like 15 minutes of the stream were a W. I already had like 10 laughs in the first 15 minutes of the stream, so it could have ended then, and I would have been happy with today's stream. In companies, your pay is influenced by 1, nepo factor, 2, the employee's ability to drive hard bargain. The corporate office climate will go nuts if some people with similar experience is earning 2x them. So talking about money as culture should either be all or nothing. I don't know. I don't think it's all or nothing. I think talking about salary is something that people should not be compelled to do. They shouldn't be compelled to disclose what they make if they're not comfortable with that. In my opinion, at least like at the worker level, maybe it makes sense for executives and CEOs, but for workers, they shouldn't be compelled. I think it's much more of just a culture thing, in my opinion. Like workers should just be more comfortable talking to each other about these things. As far as what influences your pay, I don't necessarily think I agree with the nepo part of it as much. There's definitely office politics. That plays a huge role, right? Office politics, visibility, perceived contribution is oftentimes a lot more important than actual contribution. Definitely employees who drive a hard bargain. I don't necessarily think it's a hard bargain. It's just, as an employee, you need to be able to negotiate effectively on your behalf. You can't expect your company to negotiate on your behalf. Their job is to minimize costs and maximize value. So you have to be a good negotiator for yourself, a good advocate for yourself, which is where having more information about the salary of others, both in your company and outside your company, is valuable because it helps you be a better negotiator. Filthy potato. No. Excel is better than C#. Yeah, we're just doing all kinds of rage bait this morning. Pablo, we know it's TypeScript all day. Current state of things, the answer is everywhere is no, let's not openly talk about salary. Yeah, in a lot of places, Arvin, in a lot of places it is. But I will say, I've had more conversations in the last 2 years about my salary and people that I work with and friends' salary than I've ever had in my life. So I don't know if I've become more comfortable talking about it or other people have become more comfortable talking about it, but there does seem, at least here where I am at, in the generation I'm at, so I'm 32, so kind of like in that 40 to 30-year-old range of people here in the States, there seems to be some more openness to it. You know, I think people are wising up to the fact that your salary isn't really a reflection of who you are as a person or your worth as a person. It's just a dollar figure, and we're all trying to maximize that dollar figure the best we can. The per my last email took you out. Yeah, per my last email, please give me access right away. Renee, what's the coffee for today? The coffee is from El Salvador. The coffee is from El Salvador. I've got a picture of it. Let's see. Excuse me. We're day 9. So we'll just always do photos. So it's in El Salvador. It's from El Salvador, El Salvador Santa Rosa. And the tasting notes they had for it were rose, white grape, fig, and black tea. I don't taste any of that, but it's good. I mean, it's good. Even when I was a food scientist, though, I wasn't really known for having an exceptional palate. That's why I relied very heavily on sensory science when I was doing product development. I just relied very heavily on statistics to guide me when I was formulating new products, because I don't have a particularly strong. I'm not a super taster by any means. Aggressive shell. Hi, brother. How can get bracket? Aggressive hell 1, good username. 2, I don't know what bracket is. How can get bracket? I'm not sure what that means. Rampla. It's insane what kind of bonuses they give out on the top. The pay at the top is insane. I mean, that, I don't care who you're. I actually shared a post on Blue Sky the other day, probably a week ago. And I honestly don't care what your politics are. I don't care like what you think about capitalism or not capitalism or economics in general. But I'm going to tell you, the pay range is unbelievable. So this is a tweet from this gentleman, Robert. He says CEO to worker pay in 1965 is 20 to 1. CEO to worker pay ratio in 1990, 75 to 1. CEO to worker pay ratio today, 280 to 1. I don't care what you say, no CEO, no human being on planet Earth is delivering 280x value compared to somebody else. Unless that other person is just like dead, like they're a dead corpse sitting in their chair. There's just no way. This is insane. This is there's just this not should not be a thing. Should not be a thing. And I don't, as somebody who would love to own a business one day, this to me seems wholly reasonable, or even something between here, right? I don't know. This even seems reasonable. Like, but 200x what you're paying your workers? Yeah, you're just never, no one's ever going to convince me that that makes sense. That math don't math to me. And it's never going to. It's never going to. The world has changed. We no longer think it's fair. We were taught to not talk about stuff. Yes, 100%. 100% the world has changed. Pablo, we realize we are losing money by not sharing how much we make. Yes. Yes. The cat is out of the bag. Workers unite! The movie of grandpas in Coffee Copilua. Are you talking about Jackass, Rampla? What are you talking about? The movie of grandpas and I don't know what you're talking about. All pays are meant to be public. Then your salary will be normalized to the value you're most. I cannot see that the guys earning more than me is also happy, i.e. almost equal pay. The current keep it silent growth is meritocracy, getting good at bargain without having yeah, I just disagree with you, Arvin. I don't think people's pay should be public or like forced disclosure. I don't agree with that. But I do agree with workers being more open and honest with each other. Filthy potato. We dumped tea for less. Yeah. I saw a meme the other day on, I think it was on TikTok, where it was like a picture of like a Revolutionary War soldier and like I think the caption said something like, you know, Revolutionary War soldier comes back from the dead, and the first thing he asks is like, well, did they stop taxing our tea? And then obviously that's when all of us modern day Americans are like, no, they tax the tea, they tax our income, they tax our property, they tax everything. we we fought a war over it, and then we proceeded to turn around and I mean, which I'm not. It's not to say that I'm opposed to taxes. Taxes are definitely necessary and do good things. That's not my point. But just my point is like there's a huge disparity between those who have and those who do not have, and it continues to be magnified in the world at all ranges of the spectrum, from the very poor to the very wealthy nations. That inequality just continues to grow. And people say they care, but they really don't care. It's like, I care, but I don't care. Or it's like, I care, but I actually only care that I end up on the wealthy side of the spectrum. That's all I really care about. Arvin, by the way, you missed the first segment of my chat. I don't think I did I? The current state of things, the answer everywhere is no, let's not openly talk about salary. No, I caught it all, yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I totally hear what you're saying, but I just don't agree that the default, I don't think the default needs to change. The default should still be everybody's pay is not publicly available. That should still be the default. Workers should get more comfortable, what's the word? Conspiring against their employers to elevate their salaries. that's I guess that's my position on the matter. All right, let's see if we can get this merge range thing to work. So let's print the ranges before we start, or actually let's just print the ranges, that's fine. Oh, nope, don't want that. Go test, run, test, solve part 1 with example inputs. Okay, so we're close. The only issue with our current implementation is this number right here. This should be 12, and right now it's 16. So we need to figure out where that's happening. So last merged range would be 14. Should this be current range? What should that be current range end? Let me print this. Format dot print line last merged range. We'll say capturing max here. What's our example again? Also, I need to close these because that's distracting. I remember Peter in Family Guy saying he's blue state, but Midwestern blue. Nice. I literally haven't get any salary for my selected role on my country. That 15x discrepancy I've talked about before. Yeah, that sucks, man. 15x is a big discrepancy. So we have 10 and 14. 16 and 20. So why do we end up at 16 and 20? So what happens to this one? 12 and 18. So what we do is we end up processing we end up processing 12 and 18 before 16 and 20. So what's happening? This is where having a debugger would really help me, but I haven't set up a Go debugger yet, which I should probably do at some point. So I merge the ranges. I guess let's just print on each loop. On each loop, let's get some information. So on each loop, let's print the merged ranges, and let's also print the current range. So we'll do format.println current range. Is it because I initialized the range? So current range is 3.5, merge range is 3.5, that's correct. Come down here, 10 is greater than 5, so we just add it. Current range 12. Let's see, so 12 is not greater than 14. Right? So there's an overlap here. Is that an overlap? Yeah, so there's an overlap there, which means this next iteration so what should have happened is on this iteration, this number should have became 18, but it didn't, right? Now the question is, why didn't it? So let's go down here and let's say, okay, we're here. Format.println last merged range. Last merged range before. I think it might have something to do with the fact I'm not working with references, but I'm just that's my current thought. So we have before and after. Okay. Yep. Merge range. Yep, push it on. Okay, here we go. Last merge range after, yeah. So that's 1018, right? But it doesn't actually get updated. And I think that's because, so I think I can fix this. Well, I could fix this by a couple ways. I could actually turn those into pointers, right? And actually mutate the actual struct itself. Or I could just reassign it, I think, is what I could do. So I think if I do this, which I do have to go upstairs here and make a sandwich for my wife, so I kind of have a hard stop. But I think I have to make a sandwich for her lunch for work, because I forgot to get her. She usually takes like soups from the store. I buy these like pre-made soups, but I forgot to get them this week when I went to the grocery store, so I'm gonna make her some some sandwiches for lunch. I do make a good sandwich, let me tell you. I'm much better at making a sandwich than I am writing code, too, by the way. So then we'll reset this, I think, to the last merge range, and then let's see what happens. Hey, good morning, Harsh. How are you doing, man? Good to see you. David Bailey, Bloods on repeat. Who is David Bailey? David Bailey, who is this guy? He just kind of come in. Sorry, guys. I'm catching up. Hey there, Steven. Good to see you, Harsh. Sorry, I was heads down there for a second. Also, my interviews went well. I got the role. I'm starting in February. Congratulations! Okay, Harsh, I missed that. That's why everyone was doing W's. Can we do W's in the chat again for Harsh? W Harsh. I'm going to use all my... There we go. Is David, are you kind of trolling right now? Renee, I do make a good sandwich. I do make a good sandwich. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Congratulations. Interviews are so tough. Hunting for a new job is so tough, man. That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. I know we don't know each other in real life, but I mean, I'm as happy as any stranger on the internet could ever be for you. So congratulations. Filthy potato. David, a troll. Bye-bye, David. Yeah, David is kind of a troll. David, I hope you have a wonderful day. And I hope life is treating you exactly the way you deserve. And I wish you all the best. But sorry you can't stay here. Have a nice time. $199. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I hope you feel better. I hope you feel better. God Gaming. Then why is his PowerShell open? So I'm writing Go, and I think chat tried to explain it to you, God Gaming, but I'm writing Go in NeoVim, and NeoVim is running in PowerShell, and PowerShell is running in Windows Terminal. That's my setup. 199. Don't even worry about code practice, man. You got to get healthy. You know, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. So focus on getting better. Filthy potato. Breaking down the sandwich into smaller problems helps a lot. It does. It does. You focus on one step of the sandwich making process at a time, and you put all the love and attention you can into making that part of the sandwich. It really comes through. I tell you what, it really does come through. God Gaming, thanks a lot. Of course, yeah. And if you're curious about any of my setup, you can find my PowerShell here. You can find my Oh My Posh config here. And Pablo, I know I should have a page on my website that details all this. Pablo has told me that I need to make like a setup page like Wes Boss has. What else? You can do my Oh My Posh configs there. You can do, not that I'm anywhere near Wes Boss's level of a content creator, but it's a good idea. Pablo has all the good ideas. And then we have NeoVim. Did Stream Elements die? There it is. And what else? We have Oh My Posh, PowerShell config. We have my NeoVim configuration. And I think that's it. So if you're curious about how I set any of that up, you can follow those links and they'll take you to where you need to go. Harsh, yeah, about time you add this to your website. Yeah, it's about time. I do a lot of things and I keep running out of hours in the day to do it all. Okay, let's try again. Okay, I think this is right. So we start, I think earlier, I think I had the same exact answer earlier in the stream and I thought it was wrong, but I think it's right because 10:14 and 12:18 overlap. So that range just becomes 10:18 and then it subsequently becomes 10:20. So I actually think I had this correct even before Pablo showed up in the stream. And for whatever reason, I thought I was wrong. So I think I wasn't just, because I wasn't looking at what I was actually testing against. So we'll do this. And then we'll rerun our test. And I think we'll still pass. Oh, we have to return total. I think it'll pass now. Yep. And then let's update our test with the actual input, that the actual main test.go. I think the actual answer here was 643. That's what we expect to get. Arvin, okay, I dispatch off the grind factory. See you, Arvin. Have fun at the grind factory, man. I hope they treat you well. Yeah, it passes. Cool. So that was actually, that's hilarious. So I actually had the merge solved like 2 hours ago, and I just thought I was wrong, but I was not wrong. I also think this probably can be, the sorting can actually probably be done in this iteration where I'm doing the parsing. That actually probably can be simplified. But I'm happy with this. Yeah, I'm happy with this. Thunder Deer. Oh lord, my configs are a mess at the moment. I got back into writing on my free time like 6 months ago again, but my NeoVim config was completely broken. The package manager was deprecated, etc. Yeah, there was a big breaking change in Mason. Not a big breaking change, but there was a breaking change that I think a lot of people depended on in Mason. And then I think there's also a pretty significant deprecation or breaking change where you have to change the way you set up your language servers. So a lot of people were using mvim LSP, I think, to set up their language servers, and you needed to migrate to the built-in NeoVim API, which was different. That was a pretty big change that I had to do recently to my configuration. I mean, that's the one pain point about NeoVim, is like you're using code written by just like a community of people that are just trying to make it a good experience, and so sometimes shit breaks and you got to work through that stuff. Shane O, thanks for subscribing. I appreciate that. Good morning, Born to Shine. How are you doing? Good to see you. All right, we're gonna do git. Oh, we need to update the README. Toggle word wrap. Let's do. So day 5, part 1 was fairly straightforward. Merging ranges was trickiest bit. But even that being tricky, it wasn't like insurmountable. Add commit m feature solve day 5 part uno, git push, and then we'll do ghpr create. See you, Harsh. Have a good day, man. Congratulations again on the roll, man. Super excited for you. Can't wait for February to get here for you. Pablo, part 2 will be 5 minutes, yay. Oh, really? It won't take very long? Okay, cool. Well, you say that, and then everything always takes me much longer. But we do have the merging sorted out. We actually had the merging sorted out before you told me to leave it out. But I had misunderstood what I expected to get when I did the merging on the test input, which is funny. There we go. Titano, are you using GitHub as your remote? I do. Yeah, I use GitHub basically for all the code that I have available. Actually, the link to my, I think the link to my repos in the description of the stream. I think if you wanna see, but it's all my solutions are out there for you to check out. Whoops, not that. Repo, vweb. Yeah, they're right here. If you're curious. I mean, I don't want to ruin the fun. There's a bunch of spoilers in there. So if you're still going through advent of code, which I think most people are further ahead than me, so there's probably not as many spoilers for most folks now. Pablo, I don't remember. It was something like how many ranges are there, or multiply the sizes or something dumb like that. Fair enough. Well, hopefully then it's very straightforward then. I have so much personal data backlogged. I should just get someone on Upwork or something. Oh, I guess what are you planning on doing with that personal data? All right, guys. I think a sandwich making time for me, so I got to go upstairs and do my duty. Today was good. I mean, day 4 was really straightforward. This part was very straightforward. Hopefully tomorrow's straightforward. Sounds like if we listen to Pablo, or you could give away the database. You could give away the database, I guess, if you don't care about people having your personal data. So if tomorrow is as short as Pablo thinks it may be, we should have plenty of time to work on that new project that I set up the other day, Grounds for Support, which I actually worked on it yesterday for a bit. And I got all the I basically got the entire project set up aside from GitHub Actions workflows to PR and test, basically to do the PR workflow and the deploy workflow. That's the only thing left I need to do for the project setup, but everything else is done. I ended up for the tests. I know yesterday we were talking a little bit about how to do the tests for the client. I ended up just sticking those in the same app as the Vite app. That it just seemed less of a headache in the long run. But when I do .NET tests, though, I did set it up so that now the .NET toolchain basically orchestrates all of the React related or Vite related toolchain, so I can do .NET test. And you'll see here, if I can catch it, there'll be a spot where it will say, so right now it's installing the client dependencies. So it's actually installing all the client dependencies, then it'll build the client. Well, it should, unless I broke something. Yeah, now it's building the client. I don't know why this is running so slow this morning. Maybe NPM is just being slow. Probably because I guess I have a bunch of shit running on my machine. And then before it runs the test, you'll see it'll say testing client right here. So it's actually running npm run test. And then it will test my actual .NET backend. So that way, for me, this is nice because it means that I don't have to like swap back and forth between .NET toolchain and then npm toolchain to test and run my app. I also added a Docker file too for it. So I can do Docker, I can cd into the source, I can do Docker build test, and it will build the Vite app, put those in the web root of my .NET project and then bundle that all up into a Docker container. And so I can do Docker run like this. And now if I go to, what is it, localhost 77. Localhost 77. Now we have our, so this is a React SPA being served from a .NET server, basically, web server. So we're going to start iterating on this. So lots of project made on that yesterday. We should be able to make lots of project on that tomorrow after we do advent of code. And that'll be the plan. All right, y'all. I'm going to go make a sandwich for my wife so she has something to eat while she's at work today. I appreciate all you guys hanging out with me. We've got 19 people here at the end of the stream. This is pretty cool. It's always nice when there's a good group of people left over at the end. I appreciate y'all for sticking with me. Let's do our normal wrap-up. Yep. So if you want to interact with me or chat outside of the stream, the best place to find us is our Discord. And yes, I do say our Discord because the Discord originally started because chat wanted the Discord. So I do my best to try to keep the Discord a good place to hang out, full of pretty chill people and not have a bunch of spammy, trolly folks in there. So there is an application for it, but 9 times out of 10, I'm just going to approve you. And then if you prove yourself to be a douchebag, I'll eject you from the Discord. If you want to come back to my stream and hang out in the future, you can find my schedule in the chat right there. It is from 4:15 a.m. Central Standard Time to 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, basically every morning of the week. And then in terms of what you can expect on stream, it's basically going to be advent of code till December 24th with some side projects mixed in. And then after advent of code ends, we're going to kind of just dive head first back into all the different projects that I enjoy working on, which a lot of times revolve around C# and TypeScript stuff. So that's the plan. Renee, Steven, cheers. A lot of peeps because of the great stream. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Filthy Potato had me laughing a lot, so I appreciate you guys making it fun. It would not be nearly as fun if chat was not here. I know all too well what it's like to stream in a room to nobody. It's still fun, but it's not as fun. All right, guys. I hope you all have a great rest of your Tuesday. If it's Wednesday for you, have a great rest of your Wednesday. And if I don't see you tomorrow in tomorrow morning's stream, maybe I'll see you in the comments of a short or maybe a video. And I look forward to talking to you guys again. All right. Bye, Filthy Potato. Bye, Renee. Bye, 199. Pablo, if you're still here, have a good day, Pablo. Diego, thanks for subbing. Titano, if you're still here. See you, Titano. Harsh already left. Born to Shine, if you're here. Thanks for being a member. Appreciate you. All right, guys. Bye, chat. Also, Filthy Potato, thank you for being a member. Pablo, WW for solving AOC. Yes, thank you very much, Pablo. Appreciate you. See you tomorrow. Yep, see you. All right, bye, guys. Bye, chat. Bye. See y'all. Have a good day.